It is my pleasure to introduce the first feature poet today, Hayes Davis. Thank you, Hayes, for coming out today. I really appreciate it, making the trip from Silver Spring. Hayes' first volume of poetry, which is available for sale over here, and I'm sure he'd be happy to sign it for you, is titled Let Our Eyes Linger. Hayes' writings are widely anthologized and published in many magazines and journals. Recently, they've appeared in the Academy of American Poets Poem a Day feature and in the anthology This Is the Honey, an anthology of contemporary Black poets, which appeared from Little Brown and Company last year. Please welcome Hayes Davis.
Thank you so much, Stefan. Thank you for being here. It's a great crowd for a Sunday. I am going to start with what I sort of picked this up from folks on the DC side. I'm from Philadelphia originally. I moved to the DC area in '97 to do a Master's of Fine Arts at Maryland. And so as I began to sort of take part in the phenomenally vibrant writing scene that's in DC, I learned that sometimes folks will open up a reading with a poem by another poet. We call it OPP, Other People's Poetry. Jane Clark is a phenomenal poet who Teri actually read with, and we saw her read this poem. It's called Raspberries. Sunday morning stillness in a thicket of canes. My mother reaches for quilted berries, eases them red and willing from yellow stalks, ready to hull for the simmering. She tells me not to forget a pound of sugar for every pound of fruit. Says I must remember because something has slipped into her mind, and every night, like a stoat among bowls, it hunts down her memories. And this one, just because it's Sunday, and I just never tire of this poem, Those Winter Sundays by Robert Hayden. Sundays too, my father got up early and put his clothes on in the blue-black cold. Then with cracked hands that ached from labor in the weekday weather, made banked fires blaze. No one ever thanked him. I'd wake and hear the cold splintering, breaking. When the rooms were warm, he'd call, and slowly I would rise and dress, fearing the chronic angers of that house, speaking indifferently to him, who had driven out the cold and polished my good shoes as well. What did I know? What did I know of Zub's austere and lonely offices? So some of my work. First book, first poem from the first book, 2 years later. This is me inhabiting my mother's perspective, and being a parent sort of enabled me to do that, as you'll hear in the poem, if you have ever cared for kids. 2 years later, at 7 a.m. Saturday, late autumn easing through open windows, the bustle of her son's restless limbs lifts her lids, settles her barely conscious gaze on the boy, his eyes, the eyes of the man who left. A 6-year-old knows no weekend. Saturday means drop-off, the ripped scab of face-to-face, festering resentments, the slept-with best friend neighbor, the son's innocent reports of beach trips, skinny dipping with Anne, Janine. Her bed holds only this boy, whose stutter has worsened, his throat clenched with unanswerable questions. She rises only by compulsion, barely distracts herself with breakfast and this month's bills, while Sesame Street, Looney Tunes quiet the boy. When she packs his bag for the week, she imagines his exclamation, how "Daddy" always sounds more excited than his return. She imagines the gnarled, forced small talk, imagines looking past the father's face to the paintings he took when he left. Her walls whisper absence, large spaces outlined in dust. She imagines someone else posing for him, sitting still for far longer than the drive from Germantown to Roxborough. In the time it takes to circle the car, unlock her son's door, she decides she can't look at him, can't force a smile, can't manage whatever words she'd waste before restarting the empty car for the drive back to an empty house. The exterior door reflects her grimace, the bounce in the boy's step that deflates when she stops, holds it open. Go ahead, I'll see you Friday night. This time he doesn't stutter. Aren't you gonna? I'll see you Friday. He runs the 30 feet to his father's door, knocks, looks back, but she doesn't see the boy's shoulders slump. Doesn't hear him stammer a reply to, "Where's your mother?" Doesn't hear the exasperated exhale. Or, "I'll be right back." Her legs escape just fast enough. His shout swallowed by just enough distance, the slam of the car door. And a poem for my sister, who has taken my mother in. At 13, my sister stands before me, the bust of her Sunday best engorged. Her squalling infant Max begs a hastened end to her visit. Cars pass behind her, windows muffling music against humid West Philly Sunday. The 34 trolley rings along Baltimore Avenue, but my attention is riveted, not by my sister's breasts, but by drops of milk-soaking fabric dripping to the ground. She follows my eyes, my nephew squirming in her left arm, instinct dictating his reach, and only years later will I begin to comprehend this bond. Witness a new urgency, efficiency in my wife when our children paw at her breasts in stores, restaurants, museums. When we arrive home from work, I'll marvel as she puts away purse, sloughs coat, finds couch, feeds and reads in fluent motions. But for now, I am teenage boy, projecting my own embarrassment onto my sister's quick steps to her car. So I've written a lot about parenting, and my first book is a lot of sort of early parenting poems and looking back at my dad as a parent and thinking about sort of legacies and such. So in that vein, Letter to Myself as a New Father, January 6th, 2009. This was in Mom Egg Review recently. I know this finds you flushed with new, marveling at her swaddled heft, tiny mouth suckling your finger. You're picturing sunset walks, the sky butterscotch and currant, the magic hour gilding her tiny legs, her little hand in yours along Sligo Creek's emerald spring evening, baby ducks lying behind mama, tree frogs tuning up. You can't wait to hurtle February's enameled sledding hills, ride July's swollen surf. All that will happen, but in a few days, she'll pee on you. They all do. And soon 4 hours of sleep will feel like water to the parched wanderer, your patience worn to a jagged nub. But when she digs her 13-month-old hands into a plant, doesn't hear you say stop, or does and digs more, I need you to know the gentle redirect of dulcet tones and probing questions. When her small digits fumble with the car seat straps and push yours away, I do it. Wait. When your busy inertia moves you to pick her up, slow your stride and hold her hand. If not, you'll hear your bite in tones she uses to scold her younger brother. See yourself in her furrowed 4-year-old brow. Your phone will interrupt a meeting when her temper flares at school, and you'll know your parents' red-faced walk to the principal's office, the silent late morning ride home. So why not walk Sligo slowly with her, the way your dad ambled Valley Green with you? Why not cradle the perfect skipping rock, slow motion your wrist for her learning eyes, skitter the flat granite across Sligo, then let her choose the path back to the car, the soundtrack for the ride home. And for now, hold this swaddled moment, this small breathing, this bantam heart beating, your power to feed her growth with honey or vinegar. Thank you. Stephen didn't mention This Is the Honey. Great anthology. I'm proud to be in this book. Amazing collection of poets. And this is a poem that I wrote, and as the epigraph says, after watching Hurricane Katrina coverage on CNN. The poem is called Inundated. What tides move in him? At what watermark did survival instinct kick in? How much water is too high for wading? At what pitch of a baby's cry does the father think diapers or food instead of too deep, too much wind? On film, his trudge out of the French Quarter Walgreens will be labeled looting. His visage gait indistinguishable to the casual viewer from people clutching stereos, sneakers, alcohol, any item the newsroom seems to suggest black people grab first. But look closely. See Huggies under his right arm. Who can know his story? Who wouldn't grab a 12-pack if the bad day that sends us to Scotch on a Tuesday were strung together for months, for lifetimes? If what a teenager makes working a summer job had to feed a family, if healthcare, a house, were fleeting dreams, so look again. He carries milk with the Huggies, and he's black, and he might not have made it home, but you wouldn't probably have heard if you didn't, so call him father or husband, maybe Larry or Junior, handsome, thoughtful, drenched, scared, but not blue. All right, let's get a little bit lighter here. Stephen Levy is here, and he wrote about Star Wars. He wrote about Lando Calrissian in The Empire Strikes Back, and I'm a fellow Star Wars head. So it's gonna be my second to last poem, and it is called Imperial March. It's not done yet, but this is sort of where it is now. All that you need to know if you don't know Star Wars is there's a villain named, anybody not know Star Wars? Actually, before I go into all of this. Okay, good. Imperial March. What a human resources nightmare Darth Vader creates in The Empire Strikes Back. Choking an admiral to death after each delayed Imperial assault, each rebel escape, the GR-75 medium transport or Millennium Falcon disappearing in blue-white trails of hyperspace. Think of poor Lieutenant Smith, head of the Empire's HR, tasked with calling the families of Admiral Ozzel and Nita, informing crumbling voices that their military breadwinner displeasured the most infamous Sith Lord. How much Imperial compensation they can expect, what paperwork needs signatures from whose hands. But can't we also appreciate Lord Vader's multitasking? Watched as Captain Pietz's eyes struggle to hold the onyx helmet's vacant gaze as Admiral Ozzel gasps and gurgles beside him. But Darth never breaks his verbal stride, grumbling revised military strategy to the new admiral. Maybe Vader, using the Force to crush a windpipe from miles away, even muses about Gungan sea bass or tauntaun rib tips for lunch in the Star Destroyer's commissary. Perhaps he imagines meeting Lieutenant Jones, who, rumor has it, blames the Dark Lord for recent recruiting challenges. Vader would like a word with Smith. Whatever his musing, listen again to James Earl Jones' velvet baritone. Apology accepted, Captain Nita. Forget, or did you know, that this royal voice sat silent for years, that his growl was forged from evasions, isolations, ticks. So treasure these fluent threats, his menacing whisper, that perpetual breath. And last poem comes from the new book, from the manuscript. It's called Verger, Not Verger. We're getting towards April, and in DC, in Rock Creek Park, I'm sure up here, but I don't know locations, there's this just absolutely magical green that comes out on the trees, like halfway through April. That magical green inspired the epigraph, which comes from the Philly poet named Nzadi Keita. The epigraph is Time for the Neon Riot. in this poem. Thank you again to everybody. Thank you to Hot L. Thank you to the organizers. Thank you to you for coming out. Thank you to the open mic readers. Chris, can't wait to hear your poems. Hope I haven't gone too far over my 20 minutes. I didn't keep a timer. Verger, not verger. This green is frost's gold, held more than an hour. It eases April morning slogs, late school year teacher exhaustion. Lighter than ripe limes, darker than Granny Smith apples, it holds the sun, lets through enough to coat the next leaf in something indescribable, even by words like verdant, like glowing. It is a cloud of a color. Makes you think, if touched, the leaf might disappear, might transfer the color to your hand, where it would climb your arm, make the scientist measure your gamma levels. Spectral green, a green jealousy envies, a green that makes salamanders skitter under rocks, a green that makes the Hulk shrink back to Bruce Banner. Weep at its beauty as dawn goes down today. Thank you so much.